Okay, in this video we're going to do a quick overview of the blocks and how to generally update your website. I do have a multitude of other videos regarding the kind of layout and where to find things, so we're not going to do that in this video. We're just going to talk about the blocks and the modern changes that I've created. So for newer clients, this video will be relevant. For older clients, stick to current videos that are on the YouTube channel because they'll still be relevant to you. Okay, crack on. So first of all, when you log in, you'll be logged in and this will be your view. For the vast majority of clients, I don't give them access to plugins and various menus here on the left. That's purely for security and safety, because it's very easy to break the website. And then obviously if the client needs more access, that's absolutely fine. They will have full access when and as they require it. But for the purposes, I keep this menu as simple as possible to purely to not overwhelm someone and to also to prevent them from breaking the website. So for the majority, this is what you'll see. Notice that posts, accordions, testimonials, team members, these accordions, testimonials, team members, you may not have those. It depends on the website, depends on what your needs are. I'm currently on just a default random website that I have lying around. So this may look different for you. Okay, first of all, let's cover blocks and how to update the website, which is going to be the theme of this video. First, let's go back actually. Okay, first of all, this is where you will come to when you log in. The first thing I would recommend that you do is you come up to visit site and then open in a new tab. This will then give you what the front end looks like, so what your visitors and your customers will see. And you want to have two tabs open that you can flick between back and forth. So when you save on the back end, you go to your front end, refresh, and you'll see the changes. So this is how I would always set up to start with, two tabs, etc. Notice video tutorials. This is where you'll be able to access this video that I am recording right now and other videos here on this will link you to the YouTube. Okay, so first of all, this is pages. Pages is your main blocks or your main parts of the website. So each page, so up here you've got about page, contact page, home page. Those are all reflected here. Post is more to do with your blogs and articles. That's not relevant for this particular video, but the premise of what I'm delivering today is exactly the same for posts. So to edit a page, you simply hover and then click edit. And that will bring you up to something that looks like this. This yellow bar is an indication of opening and closing a block. Each black bordered section is a block. What that means is this contains the specific text of a section or theme of a section, and you can move it up or down based on these two arrows. So we've got a banner block here. Let's show you what the banner block is. It's this banner title. I can move that down, and instead of being at the top, I could put my newsletter block. The newsletter block is this newsletter sign up form here. So I've moved that to the top. So if I click update, I go to the front end, Command R to refresh, you will now see that that is at the top. Banner blocks, typically you want them to be at the top. So again, we'll just tap that up and put that at the top. Now, one thing I have changed from previous iterations and older websites is I've removed the ability to see what this looks like here in this window. So before, you could click on buttons here to visually see what this looked like. Now, I've disabled it and removed it simply because the amount of work involved to get that up and running was a lot. You ended up having to bill the client for that, and it just became much more expensive. And talking to my clients and how they use the website. They rarely use that feature. So to avoid myself headaches and extra work, and for a feature that no one really used, I've got rid of it. So now we're just dealing with the text and boxes and stuff like that, so that are non-visual compartments. So just note that the icon here, if you're an old client or an existing client, that would have been removed and you can no longer see a visual compartment. So as you can see here, this page is already filled with blocks. Now, most of the time when I deliver a website, this will be the case because I've obviously built it for you. But if you start from scratch, or you need to add a block going forward, or you want to change things up a bit, you will click on this blue plus button. This will open all the different blocks that I have created. Again, this will vary massively depending on the website I have built for you and the needs that you have as a client. But generally, this is where you will find the blocks. You just simply click on this. It will then go in here. So if I'm on this block here, I click the plus button, I click on add a block, it will add it in the middle here. If I'm way down here and I'm on this block, you can see I'm on this block because it's highlighted with this blue border. And then if I click add, so let's add a team members block at the bottom, you can see that that's now been added. Close that, and we've now got this team members block. And again, you can move it up and down. So that's the layout, the general gist of a block. The rest of this menu you don't really need to see. If you click on these three dots, you can delete the block, you can move it, you can duplicate it. Generally speaking, you're not going to be doing too much of that. It's more a case of editing and adjusting the already existing blocks. So let's do that. I'm going to pick 2 or 3 blocks that are going to be most consistent. And as I talk through it, you'll get a general flow of it, and then all blocks pretty much behave the same. So we're going to do this Big Ben London themed text block. Okay. So we've got a link here, we've got a background color, we've got a foreground shading of white in the forefront to kind of dull the color of the background. We've got a title here, and then we've got text. So let's edit all of that. To make things easy, how far down was that? It's quite far. So to make that easy, I'm going to move this, just check that this is the one. So there's the Tower of London, the Big Ben London picture. So we'll close that. We're going to move this to the top just to make things a little bit easier to see visually what I am doing. Okay, so this is the text block. Here you have 3 tabs. You can close the block with this yellow tab, or you can leave it open. If there are a lot of blocks on a page, you may find closing it is ideal. But as a general block, as a general rule, all blocks will have 3 tabs, and they'll all be the same. So pretty much most blocks will have a heading area. The heading area relates to, let's save the page, because we've moved the text block to the top, and then refresh. So now we're on this. So as a general rule, the heading area relates to this title block here, or this title text. Then the text block, and again, if we go to a team block, you can see there's another tab here, but it's related to the team block. So this middle tab changes depending on the block, but you can see it's got a heading area and it's got block settings. Again, if I go back to the text block, it's got block settings, it's got heading area. And so the middle tab tends to be specific to whatever the block is that you're on. So in this case, it's obviously text. And we've got a number of tools that we can do to change the text in here. So if I delete, excuse me, note here there are 3 paragraphs. If I delete the first paragraph, update, refresh, that is now changed. You can bold text, you can italize text. Please try not to use this unless I've given you express designs to do so. It looks naff. You can left align it, semi-align it. You can click on this to get more advanced features. Please don't use these as a general rule because it will change the design, and we want to try and stick to a strict design protocol. So as a general rule, ignore this. You can enlarge it to give you more of an immersive experience. Again, I don't see a need for that. If I go, look, here is a link please, and then I click on this link icon, I can just paste in the link, click go, or I can do a few more advanced features. Let's say I want to link to Jeff Peterson, which is a team member on this page. I can put his link in there. I can also change this to Jeff Peterson here. I can open the link in a new tab. So when someone clicks on that link, it will open it in a brand new tab rather than removing you from the current page. You can also search for stuff. So I could do the contact page here. And then I can click on the contact page. So remember, you can paste in the URL, or if you're linking within the home page, just search what page you want and it will come up. You can change the name of the link here. You can click open in another tab. So let's add a link. Let's see what that looks like. There it is, Jeff Peterson. So, let's do bold. So you get the gist. It's pretty self-explanatory. So that's the text block. And again, this is the general gist of changing text. What you do here is repeated through many blocks through the website. So me showing you this will 80% show you how to update the website. Now, if we go to the last tab, block settings, this is pretty much active on every block. There will only be 1 or 2 blocks or none at all, depending on the website, that will not have this. So as a general rule, heading area and block settings will always be there. I'll come back to the heading area shortly. So the block settings is more related to the overall behavior of this block. So notice choose block width. So if I put full update, notice that it's quite thin here. It's quite the text is quite condensed. If I refresh the page, it's now full and it is full width of the web page. As a word of advice, if you are putting a block that is very text heavy, you want to minimize it to small or medium, because small makes it much easier to read for the reader. So just bear that in mind. If it's very heavy in text, try and put the block as medium, small rather, and maybe on the odd occasion medium. So this is medium. This privacy policy thing here is a call to action button. You can remove it and it will be gone, or we can add it back and say, let's take you, come on, click on the tab, please. We can take you to the contact page. So let's search for the contact page. Click on that, contact, that's fine. Click on that. You can change it to a link or a button. Again, this is very theme specific. It doesn't really matter. Sorry, it doesn't really matter what you choose, link or button, left, right, or center. So if I click right and I click that as a link, that will go there. Usually this will be designed with much more emphasis that it's a link, but that's just the functionality. So you can see that the link was over on the right side, and we changed it into a button. So let's change that button and center it again. And so we're back to normal. Okay, so that's the general settings within the block. Now let's deal with the background image. I could choose none for background image. That will remove the London background. I can go back, click on background image. I can change this image. Don't ever use this edit button because it's not what you think it is. It is an edit to change it out. It's edit to actually change the image specifically. You're never going to need to do this. So you click on the X button to get rid of the image. You go to add button, and then you get the media library here. So note that I have created folders for people. Again, these folders will look different for different people. And also notice there are 2 tabs here. The upload files is if you want to upload an image for yourself. So you can click on that, go through your file system and select the files that you want, or you can just drag and drop into here. Both work fine. And then if you want to actually go to your media library with your current uploaded images, what's already in your library, you click on media library, and let's change it to this nice pink background. and update, we can see there. Notice it still has this kind of white foreground. That is this overlay here. So I can go in there, clear that, remove the overlay altogether, and we have that. But do note that this text is now almost illegible. So as a general rule, you always need to have some sort of overlay that contrasts the text that you're using. So let's add this to a black. This is your transparency slider. So if I have it very low transparency, or rather the transparency is very high, it will look very negligible that I've added anything at all. If I now increase that to very high or very little transparency, you'll notice that the text changes quite significantly. Now, on this particular theme that I don't have automatic text that changes color. I have removed that as a feature. So, but again, it all depends on the branding and the style of your website. I will, of course, build it in a way that if you're going to use overlays and different text, there will be a consistency to the rule, and you probably will only have one type of text color throughout the website. So in this case, we're using a dark text on light colored backgrounds. So we probably want to go for more of a white overlay. But again, that's to do with design. This is just a tutorial on how to use things. So that is block settings. Okay, so we've got backgrounds, we've got links. Again, this may or may not be present on your website, but you get a general idea of how things work. Do remember, I leave notes for all bits to remind you what they are, so do read these little tips. And then lastly, let's go to heading area. Heading area, as mentioned before, relates to the title. So you can do pre-heading text. So this is like a little text that appears before the title. Anytime now. So there's the pre-heading there. And this is, again, a very familiar box that we were using here. Slightly less features. Well, actually, there are exactly the same features. So we could just add, let's just grab this text and put it in there as kind of like a mini intro to this text. We're going to center it. We're going to update, and then that will appear below this. So since this is a text block, the chances of you using this is unlikely because you are using a text block. But if we were to look at another block, like the team block, for example, have we got team members? Yeah, team members are here. So with team members, we've got images straight away. So it may be relevant to put a little sub section in there. So if we go to heading area again, sorry, that's the wrong block. Let's close that down. Let's go to the team block and say I do want to add a bit of a subtext, and then update, refresh. So that adds the subtext there. So here it's a bit more relevant because it's not a text heavy block. So hopefully that makes sense. So in this case, because it's a text block, we probably don't really want it. But anyway, the point is it's there. Notice we've got H1, H2, we've got alignment, and we've got text container width. So text container width means the width specifically for this bit or this bit. So you may want this to be very confined, but you want the actual block to be full width. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So I've changed the text container or the heading area to 820 pixels, which directly corresponds to small. So small on the website is 820 pixels for most websites. And in this case, that is the same value here. You can align that text container left, right, or center. Most of the time you're going to use center. You can also align the headings left, right, or center. And then H1 or H2, if this block is the first block on the page, you will want to make this an H1. If it is a block that appears anywhere else on the page and there is already an H1, you want to keep it as an H2. So most of the time they're going to be H2s unless it's the first block, which becomes an H1. So the H1, as a general rule to do with SEO and Google ranking, that is your primary number one heading. You only have one per page, and it usually appears at the top of the page. One per page, so remember that. So most of the time it's going to be an H2, but in this case it is the first block, so we're going to put it as an H1. Just to show you the alignments, I'm going to align the text to the right, but I'm going to align the text container to the left. I'm going to put the container on the smallest value. I'm going to change this to full width to show you contrast. We're going to update and we're going to click refresh. So notice this is all aligned right. Let's go back here. This is maybe a bit confusing. We'll align that right as well. Obviously you wouldn't do this because it looks hideous. So they're all aligned right, but notice it's only 820 pixels wide. So most of the time you'll want to put the text in the center, or to match it because it's aligned on the right, we'll align it also on the left. Sorry, the text is aligned right, we'll also align the block or the heading area to the right as well. So something like that. So you can do general play around with this. Again, it's theme and brand dependent. Most of the time it's all going to be center. And so notice this is shorter than this, and it can play around and give you different effects. But as a general rule, try and keep consistently. If I've styled something a particular way, there's usually a way to do that. These are features that are available, but most of the time you're not going to really be using it. The giving you this access is more to change the text, change the images, etc. So that's a text block. And to be honest, the majority of blocks are going to be very similar. I'm going to go through one more block just to give you kind of a flow of what's going on. So I'm going to do the image gallery block. I'm not going to go through every block. I've moved it to the top. Let's click refresh. Wow, it's very slow today. And this is it, I believe. Yes. So again, we've covered the heading area. So we're on image gallery block now. We've covered the heading. You may or may not want it. Again, you've got these different settings, and then you've got your address settings. Now, because this is an image gallery block, I don't want, or we don't want to have an image in the background. That's just going to look crazy. So you'll notice that the third tab, which is block settings, has been disabled. So to adjust an image, you can do a gallery or you can do a single image. As you can see here, it's currently a single image. So we'll stick to single image. Notice the image width is 57% of the page, so it's quite short. Let's change that to 100% and we'll update it. And now you can see that that is 100%. Overlay with links. So notice when I hover on this image, it gives me a link where I can go to visit another page on the website or to somewhere completely different. In this case, it goes to an unsubscribe page. You can remove that by turning off this. Where did it go? Overlay with links. Turn that on or off. Update. And so now when I go to hover, it's been removed. You can also have captions. So update. And so notice there's a caption down here. You can center the image. Okay, that is related to this 74. So this will appear on the left now. So these are kind of self-explanatory features, and obviously you click on the cross button to change the image. Don't use the edit button, but we've covered the gist of this. It's very similar, very repetitive understanding. So hopefully that will make sense. Now, if we go to gallery, slightly different features now. Again, image with captions, image spacing. Let's put 10. Crop images, yes or no. I'll explain what that is, and then columns. So let's add a gallery. So I don't want to do select files. We want to do media library. We're going to click on this. You can click on each image individually and then click on the tick to remove it. Or you can hold down shift and then click on the next thing, and it will select all images from the first to the last where you click. when you're holding shift. So we'll select. So we've now added all these different images. You can drag the image to reorder it. You can get rid of it by pressing the cross button. And then the number of columns, how you want it to appear, is here. And then if we update, now this will turn into a full gallery. Notice the spacing between the images, that is 10 pixels. That relates to this. So if I get rid of that, that will get rid of the spacing. Notice when I hover, it shows the caption related to that image on hover. So if I remove captions, update, now when I hover, it's been removed. Crop images, so let's turn that off, update. So currently these images are cropped so they're all the same shape, size, there's consistency, it looks very nice. Most of the time you're going to want to crop it. There are times when you don't, but as a general rule, almost always you are going to crop them. This is what it looks like when they're uncropped, so it maintains its original uploaded proportions. And you can see it looks a little bit higgledy-piggledy, but some people like that look and effect. So that option is there, but most of the time you're going to want it there. That is a gallery and an image block. So whenever you need to add an image, specifically just an image or a gallery, you can add the heading and various features there. You can change it between a single and gallery. You can reorder the images, add or remove the images, and then you've got additional features. So let's just do one more last thing. Column of 6, and then we've got a 6. So that is the gallery block. So you can see that the kind of settings and the rules are pretty much the same. Tabs block, we're going to really quickly go through this. Heading area, exactly the same as explained before. Block settings, exactly the same as described earlier. And then we've got the middle tab, which is specific to the tabs block. Tabs block is, let's scroll down and quickly show you. It's an interactive way of showing different information. So you can click on those and show different ways of doing it. And each tab, so this is tab 1 and it shows this information. This is tab 2 and it shows this information. So what does that look like? So on here, you've got heading 1. That is the title to your first tab, so the button. Tab heading 1, tab heading 1. So if I said this is pizza, change it. Now you can see that that's pizza. Then you've got the content. So you've got a link in there. You've got the text, same functionality and features from as explained earlier. And that's related to this. You have an image, which is obviously self-explanatory. And then you've got a call to action button, which is again the same sort of features as we explained earlier. So in tab 2, we don't have an image, we have a call to action button, and we just have text. So let's see what that looks like. So if I keep scrolling down, we're now at heading tab 2, and it's just got text. It's got no image, and it's got a call to action button. Note you can collapse a particular tab, so that's a bit smaller, so you can see that this is tab 1. And then if we close tab 2, you can see, and then you can see which tab it's related to because it will show you the button text related to that tab. That's very, very useful. And then lastly, if you want to add a new tab, you click on the add tab button. This will be number 4. We'll put 4, and then we'll just paste in some blank text there. As a general rule, there will be a rule where you can only add a certain number. Usually it will be 2 or 3 max. So in this case, I've added 4. Gosh, it's very slow to refresh today. So again, depending on your theme, your style, you will only have a certain number. Just because this will look very chaotic on mobile, it's very difficult to control this on how it looks mobile. So there's number 4 with text. So that's a tab block. Again, the tab here is specific to the tabs block, and you get a general idea. You can add blocks here, remember. That is blocks. I'm going to do a second video now shortly to cover global blocks, which is related to these. Again, these will be different depending on your website. So we've got team members, testimonials, and accordions. If we go to testimonials here, this is a block, but notice it is related to this. So this is global. I will talk about that in the next video. Thank you for watching.